In the agricultural marketing channel, much of the power is placed in the hands of the agribusinesses. That power might come in the form of either pricing or in the form of this organizing of activities. An agribusiness, especially if they have a differentiated good, can often manipulate prices a little bit. For example, an agribusiness that offers a differentiated good can set the price, making them a price maker, giving them more power. Or, even in the aspects of handling commodities, firms or agribusinesses will often look at the size distribution of their clients. The reason they do this is because it is cheaper and it is more efficient to handle, say, 4 large farms than trying to handle 20 smaller farms. So they do control a little bit when it comes to the actual pricing of goods and dealing with the cost and the fees of different commodities. The second way is organizing activities. Agribusinesses are usually the ones involved in the formation of the final product that goes out to the consumers. They also are involved in directly and indirectly affecting sales, whether it be through promotion or through collective advertisement or something of that nature. Agribusinesses can often decide the final form of the product as well as increase sales or affect sales one way or the other, either directly or indirectly. An example of an indirect means of affecting sales is, say you've got 2 different products, and those 2 different products more or less compete for each other. Well, if one agribusiness decides to market good A better than good B, then the second business is marketing good B, and the demand for good A increases, it might decrease the demand for good B, therefore indirectly affecting sales. So the majority of the power within the marketing channel does go to these agribusinesses. Now, as we talk about different types of marketing, there's 2 types of marketing in the agri-marketing sector that we need to focus on. The first one is commodity handling. It is the forward motion of moving commodities from one hand to another. Basically, commodity handling is the moving of raw goods, of raw commodities. And then the second type of marketing is product marketing. Product marketing is a process of turning raw agricultural goods into products, into final products, into differentiated products for the consumption of the final consumer. So, as we look at the marketing channel, those entities that are closer to the farmer typically handle in the commodity handling aspect, whereas those businesses that are typically more towards the consumer might handle more with the product marketing. So if we kind of break it down and remember that marketing channel, you might have the producers and the assemblers. They might be working more in the commodity handling. They might be those that are actually assembling the commodities and selling it to the processors, as well as the producers are handling more in the commodity realm. Whereas if you get onto the other side in the wholesaling and retailing, which are closer to the consumers, they're going to be dealing more with product marketing. Wholesalers and retailers typically manage more in the product section rather than commodities. But oftentimes you have agribusinesses engaged in both. Whereas an example of that might be a processor. A processor might be buying raw goods, therefore handling these commodities, and turning these raw goods into finished products. So then they're turning around and dealing with the product marketing. So oftentimes agribusinesses might be dealing in both commodity handling and product marketing. Now, if we talk about price competition of these 2 types, we see that in commodity handling, price competition is often higher. Remember that commodities deal more in the perfectly competitive market, which means buyers and sellers are price takers. So whenever we talk about price competition, we're looking at, say for example, 2 different businesses are both competing for the same type of commodity. Let's say there's 2 different types of feedlots that are both competing for corn to use as grain or to use as feed for their animals. Both of them are going to be competing very heavily in terms of prices. So their price competition is rather high. And it's very hard to develop brand loyalty and loyal customers or loyal sellers in an industry whenever you're dealing with price takers. Because, for example, let's say feedlot A, they decide that they're going to pay a little bit less than market price. Well, their loyal sellers, the people that sell those commodities directly to them, are probably going to go to feedlot B because they're offering a higher price. Loyalty typically goes out the window whenever you can get a higher price somewhere else. Whereas on the other hand, whenever you got product marketers, those that are dealing in the product marketing, their price competition tends to be a little bit lower. The reason for that is those product marketers are dealing in this differentiated product realm. They're looking at differentiated branding products. So if they can brand a product, then they typically can develop a little bit more brand loyalty, which means they can adjust their prices just a little bit more, and at least more than they can under a perfectly competitive market under this commodity pricing or this commodity marketing. And because that they can adjust their prices a little bit, their price competition is not as high. And what it really amounts to is they become price makers, and they develop that brand loyalty. This differentiated product develops that brand loyalty that kind of supersedes the price just a little bit. Whereas under this commodities, because they're undifferentiated goods, it doesn't matter who you buy it from, they're all the same good, and loyalty tends to go out the window, especially whenever you consider price changes.